The needs of the people were massive. They were crushing around Jesus. They needed His touch. If you look at our world, there's the physical needs of hunger and disease. There's the emotional needs with people full of fear and depression. There's the relational needs, people full of loneliness or anger. But ultimately, there is the spiritual need for all of us. It's interesting that in the year 2021, we talk a lot about physical, emotional, and relational needs, but we've kind of forgotten that there is a spiritual need in each of us, because ultimately there is that God-shaped hole that humanity, as humans, you and I, try to fill. So as Jesus is on His way, the crowds almost crushed Him, and it says, and a woman who was there had been subject to bleeding for 12 years, but no one could heal her. A woman is in this crowd, this massive crowd crushing into Jesus. She's been bleeding for 12 years and no one can heal her. And I want to say this, the length of people's pain and despair of not knowing if it will ever go away is excruciating. We all live around people that have tried to find healing in so many different ways, and they get to a point where they wonder, is it ever going to get better? This woman had been bleeding for 12 years. She had spent all she had. She had walked 30 miles to get there, needing to get to Jesus. 12 years, walking 30 miles. And maybe you can relate somehow right now. Maybe your pain has caused you shame. Maybe you have tried everything. You feel hopeless. You even feel like an outcast. And redemption seems like an impossible dream. It says she came up from behind Him and touched the edge of His cloak, and immediately her bleeding stopped. By law, her touch would have made Jesus unclean. By law. She was an untouchable. But by grace, and friends, this is what we celebrate every day. By grace, just the opposite happened. It says immediately her bleeding stopped. Jesus didn't become unclean. She became clean. Jesus has the power to heal. And I want to say this, 2,000 years later, those of us of faith, we are called the body of Christ, and now we have the power to heal. We have the power to heal through touching people's lives with dignity, love, hope, and prayer. And that is my prayer for our Live 58 church, that we would be known as a church that touches people who are at the end of their rope, that are thinking, I don't know if there will ever be a change in my life. We are the body of Christ. Mother Teresa said it like this, it'll be on the screen. Christ has no body now but yours. No hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes through which He looks compassion on this world. Yours are the feet with which He walks to do good. Yours are the hands with which He blesses all the world. Yours are the hands, yours are the feet, yours are the eyes. You are His body. Jesus notices the touch of one woman. So powerful. With the overwhelming needs of the crowd, He feels the pain of one. Here's the challenge today. Peter saw the crowd. Jesus saw the one. Let me say that again. Because I'm too often like Peter. Peter saw the crowd. Crowd control. Let's get Jesus to go wherever He's going. Peter sees the crowd. Jesus sees the one. Here's the question I want to ask you today. Do you see mankind as a faceless crowd? Or are you asking God to show you the individual who has a name and a story and needs to know that healing is possible? Friends, it's easy to see the crowds. It's easy to label people and just put them in different, whether it's political systems or ethnicity systems, whatever it is. But God, every person has been wonderfully and fearfully made by God, redeemed by God with a purpose. And so do we see mankind as a faceless crowd, or are we asking God to break our hearts and to show us individuals, their story, their face, their name? Friends, when we treat each person with dignity as an individual, understanding they've been created by God for eternity, and when we take the time to notice them, invest in them, redeem them, then somehow, supernaturally, it's their faith that begins to rise. And in the words of Jesus, it's their faith that will heal them. So as we choose to touch our world, this is what happens. Faith will replace fatalism. Hope will replace despair. and empathy will replace hate, and people will rediscover their faith. Our job as a church, our job found in Luke 8 here, is to pay attention, to love, and accept everyone